everybody. Welcome to another episode on how to manage your budget and how to be better with your money. So I'm Angie from Zaki's Money Adventures, and I will be joined very shortly by my co-host, Rumbi from Harvest Family Finance. And we've got a really exciting topic to discuss today, which is your food budget is the problem. Let's just call it what it is and address it once and for all. It'd be really great to hear from you guys as to how you manage your food budget, and the things that you do to stay on track with your budget when it comes to food, and keeping within your budget. So really interested to hear from you guys as to what you do. We'll share the things that we practice or that we believe would help you in keeping your food budget where it needs to be so that you do not stray as often as possible. But it'd be great to hear from you guys as well as to what you do and how you manage your food budget. So please keep the ideas coming. And let's just know we're all in this together. Inflation, the cost of living is hitting us all. So what do you do? Share your tips in the comments. The first thing that I'd like to say is that food is a comfort measure for a lot of people. So while we know that the food budget for most of the people, well, for us and for most people we speak to, is to just recognize that food is a comfort. And so that can be a problem depending on how you look at it. So why not find other ways that you can find comfort and other things that you can find comfort in rather than using food. And if you know me, I always talk about psychology and like the link, like you don't stray from your budget because you want to, it's because they're underlying issues. So if you use food as a comfort, and it's so easy to just pick up, Deliveroo or whatever it is when you're feeling some kind of way, find other coping mechanisms so that you can stick within your budget. So the problem is that, it can be comforting. I know the kind of foods that I feel like eating in the summertime, the kind of foods I indulge in the wintertime, the ones that I'm likely to order a takeaway. So find other coping mechanisms rather than using food. So that would be my way to manage.
Don't go food shopping when you're hungry. I think it's a small detail, but it has mighty impact. I've tested it myself. Every time I go to a supermarket hungry, I buy a lot more. And then it goes back to that comfort element you're talking about of actually what you're trying to satisfy. You're hungry and it's a feeling and you're feeling that you're hungry. All of that starts to kick and play. But you will see, even stats show that people who went to food shopping when they're hungry will purchase more. So
Absolutely.
don't do it.
Yes. In fact, don't leave your house if you're hungry. Can we say that?
That is true.
Do not leave your house if you are hungry. You are likely, like me, to stop by a fast food chain at the nearest services that you see and get something to eat, or buy something that's really overpriced, like a bottle of water for £3.50, because you are hungry. So do not leave the house if you are hungry.
And actually, sorry, I'm just going to jump in with another one, which kind of speaks to that one in terms of what you've just said, is also be like, have a plan, like go out with some water, go out with some snacks. If you're a snacky person and you know you're going to be out for a long period of time, one, you're going to make better choices for your health by having something already with you, but also a lot better for your pocket. So you're saving on your pocket and you're saving on your health. So do go out with snacks that you've made at home at a fraction of the price of what you're going to pick up at the services or at the corner shop, etc.
Absolutely. And I'm going back to basics again with the fact that we need to realize that food is necessary for survival. Food is necessary for survival. Does your shopping list currently reflect somebody that's trying to survive?
Listen, is it a need or is it a want?
Right.
We go back to
So,
the basics.
exactly. So, and I think, we can have all kinds of conversations about what people should eat, what we need, whether we need, truffles or caviar, or whether we just need bread and meat. Okay. So I think another reason why your food budget is getting you in trouble and out of control is you're losing the real definition of what food is. Like I said, it's a comfort, but secondly, it's meant to be for survival. A
Yeah.
balanced diet. You have some carbs, have some proteins, have some vegetables. It doesn't have to be meat or animal protein. It could be other kinds
Oh,
of,
wow.
do a month where you're eating your lentils and other kinds of proteins and your chickpeas. And maybe another month where you're eating meat, or another week or day or whatever where you're eating fish. And vary it so that you're actually using food for survival to nourish your body. As I say with the kids, you are the biggest asset. And so looking after your body and making sure that your food budget and the things that you're buying is actually nourishing your body for what it's supposed to be, to keep you alive, to keep you healthy. All of those other indulgences sometimes is why we stray, or eating really badly actually is why we stray. So let's just try to use food for what food. By the way, I'm preaching to myself, right? So don't think I do not
Yeah,
think I'm
God,
here kind of
listen.
eating plant-based, exercising daily, staying on the
No
rebounding
meat
machine and having
and
massages and
lentils.
like sitting in a sauna. No, right? But when we share these things, we're sharing with
Oh,
ourselves and with you as well. So let's try and get back to basics of what food is supposed to be. And I think that might actually help with the food budget. I know the sorts of things that I stray on and not needs. So yeah, that would be my second one. Is this keeping me alive? Is this necessary for my survival?
Is it a need or is it a want? My third one would actually be to take an audit of how much you're throwing away. And if you're in a council or a place where you can have a food bin, it's probably one of the best sources of like a check. How full do you get your food bin to be? Is a good reflection. I think there's a lot of wastage and actually a lack of acknowledgement of that waste, but you're literally throwing the money away because things have stayed in your fridge for longer than necessary. You haven't eaten those carrots that you thought you were going to do the thing with, and you haven't, and you're throwing them away. Um, or the leftovers that have stayed in the fridge for too long and they've spoiled. So take a look. To really take an audit of actually what am I wasting here? And it's interesting when you start to have that audit. What I found is like, for instance, I used to, because you're trying to do the healthy thing, you're trying to eat not for the want but for need and vitamins and health. I always used to buy broccoli, and what I found actually after taking this audit is that for almost 2 weeks straight, I threw away the head of broccoli, um, and I kept it on the list because the intention is that we're eating healthier. We need to have it. But then 2 weeks running, I've thrown it away, which means that it's not finding its way to the plate. So either just, I know you want to be healthy and I know you're trying, but actually you're just throwing away food. So I left it. I haven't actually, don't buy it very often unless it's very specific because I've just found that it just didn't go into our diet. It's either
Yeah.
you decide that actually going forward, I am going to cook it the day it enters this house, I cook it and I eat it, or
Mhm.
just don't bother. But there's a lot of food. I think we just, if you're, I also find things like yogurt. If you have the intention of doing, Greek yogurt and all sorts of things, but if you're throwing away a tub or two every month, then perhaps it's not for you. So have a audit of your food wasted.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Do you know why? I've actually got some Greek yogurt in my fridge that
Mm.
accidentally made its way into the freezer. Don't ask me who put it there. And came out of the freezer. It's literally liquid. I'm like, I'm not throwing this away. I'm not throwing this away. So it's in the fridge, very watery. I don't know what to do with it. So if you know what to do with accidentally frozen yogurt that I don't want to throw away, please let me know. Um, And I think for me, linked to that is actually us just not, especially in this generation and how busy we've gotten, is us not knowing how to store food properly.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why your food budget is a problem and why you find yourself buying things and throwing things away
Mm,
so frequently because we do not know how to store food properly. So
mm,
things like, salting food. I actually went to my friend's house, and on the point of broccoli, she had a mug of water in the fridge and put the stem, the bottom of
mm.
the broccoli. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So she actually, I saw that. I thought, oh, that's something I can learn. Or storing fish in salt before you actually need to cook it, and just old. Like I'm,
Well,
I'm an old soul generally.
mm,
Like old traditions. Oh, the other thing is preserving vegetables in a brine. So I started doing this thing where, again, you mentioned carrots, and it's the fruit and veg usually that gets
yeah.
wasted. So I will chop up leftover carrots that I haven't used, and I will make a saltwater solution. You can get the exact measurements on YouTube, and just chop it up and put it in there and leave it in the fridge. Not quite fermented, but it keeps it really crunchy for a long time, and it's actually really good probiotic for you. So what's not to love? So again, really, really learning how to store food properly will save you. And I don't mean putting it in like plastic containers, because that's probably also not very healthy for you all the time. But really learning how to store food properly will save you just buying the same things every week because you're wasting and throwing things away.
Um, the other thing that I feel about is yeah, in this fast-paced life, I get that you want to make things easier for you in terms of food prep. But for everything that you buy, where someone has done something for you, it's
Mm,
more expensive. So mangoes that are chopped up already, anything already chopped up has an extra cost. So whilst I appreciate that it saves you time, it's easier, it's more convenient, it is, you're literally, for something that might not actually take you that long if you
mhm.
just organize kind of your life and your thing, to the extent of one of the things, and I haven't kept this up, I'll tell you this, okay, I tried it. But I understand a whole chicken is actually cheaper to get whole. You're going to get more out of it. You cut it yourself. Now, I'm terrible at cutting chicken. This is why I haven't done it, but cut up meat, anything that's already been prepared by someone else in some way, shape, or form is costing you
Mhm.
much. So chop onions. I mean, at the moment we're going a bit crazy at the moment. You can buy anything chopped for you. Garlic, all of that stuff comes at an extra cost. So decide whether that's really necessary. A really good example is cheese, grated cheese. Grated cheese, the cost of grated cheese is actually extra, like it's the difference in just buying a block of cheese, going home, grate it, and then put it in a nice container and store it properly is, if it's the fact that every time you want to use cheese, you have to grate it, just come with your block, grate it, store it properly, does the job at a fraction of the price. So that's my tip. Just have a think about, do I really need this convenience of someone chopping up or someone grating stuff for me?
Absolutely. And linked to that, we're very in sync today because our points are literally just supplementing or complementing each other. So, linked to that for me is just to, I know we like to go to restaurants and it's like a fancy thing, and to give ourselves a break and to go and socialize and all of that. But really think about the fact that a lot of restaurants, not every restaurant, but a lot of restaurants would actually use like bulk buy or bulk bought cheap ingredients to make this meal or this whatever it is that you're eating. So when you think that you're treating yourself and going out to this nicely plated product, um, usually the core ingredients or the key ingredients may not necessarily be as high quality as what you may think or wish that it was. So if your food budget, I mean, for most people, it might include takeaways, going to restaurants, and going to the supermarkets. So just really think about whether you really need to go to a restaurant. Someone actually came, a workman came into the house the other day and was saying how they've got a group of friends and they go out socializing once a month. And he said, it's really nice weather at the moment. I'm not going out, to the restaurant. He said that they make you leave at 10 p.m. anyway. And you just think, I've bought all of these drinks, and why do I have to leave? So what he said, him and his group started doing was they just took it in turns and went
Oh,
to each other's houses in the summer.
yeah.
So in the winter months, they go out and they go to nicer places, but in the summer months, they stay at home. He said you can drink as much as you want.
So you
You don't
can
have to drive.
more food.
Exactly.
Actually,
You can
right.
cook more. There's no
Yeah.
rush. There's no people coming round you and asking if you want more of this or if you're okay or if you want any more of that. So yeah, restaurants are nice. I like to go to restaurants. I really like to eat out, but I'm really now starting to think about whether what it is that my brain's telling me I'm getting by going out is what I'm actually getting, and then the quality of the food that I'm getting served. Are they really using the best ingredients? Or is it just a high price for just going out? And if that's what you want to do, that's okay. But if you're trying to keep to a food budget, then reconsider.
I would say more with a food budget as well. Learn to upcycle your leftovers. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a great way of kind of reinventing. If you had white rice, make it into fried rice the next time you have it. Just I think sometimes having the same thing over and over again can be boring for some people, or might actually dissuade them from having their leftovers. But have a think about how to I call it upcycling it, how to freshen it up, how to zhuzh it up, have egg fried rice. So, like for instance, from plain rice, if you were to have plain rice one day, you can have fried rice with vegetables, then you can have egg fried rice with peas. So you've gotten like three different meals from the base core of just plain rice. And I think the more exciting you make it, the better it is for you mentally just to kind of think, actually, I'm going to use that up. I'm going to make this instead. If you have chicken, you had roast chicken, and you can then have a chicken wrap the next day. You can
Mm-hmm.
have a stir fry chicken. Just really think about ways to upcycle your leftovers to make the best use of your food.
Absolutely. And again, with you looking at my
Yeah.
notes, I'm going to just piggyback on the back of that, which is linked to meal prep as well. But to have a recurring list of ingredients or things that you use every single week or every single month, depending on your shopping schedule. So, for example, mince is another one. You can do lots of things with minced beef. You can have a list, but a recurring thing that you buy for your family every single week. So, fish. You can say you buy fish. You can make, I don't know, fish and chips. You can make some kind of a fish pie. You can make lots of things with it. Have your chicken, and all of the meals that you make with chicken have your mince, all of the things that you make with mince, your bread, your wraps, the vegetables. So have a staple shopping list first, and then anything else that you run out of or like a nice treat in the week is what you add on to the list, rather than every single time you need to go shopping it feels like, oh, what do we eat again? And kind of that's when you can stray a little. So if you've got recurring things, your staples, your meats, for example, that you do, and your vegetables and your this that you eat, a link to that as well is to have a meal plan. There are lots and lots of things online that you can get, free templates, kid friendly, keto friendly, veggie friendly, vegan friendly. Like, people have done the work for you. Just put it into Google and just put like meal plan, family of four, veggie loving or meat loving or fish loving or whatever all the words are, pescatarian, vegetarian, all the Aryans, put it online and you will get something out for you and try. And you could actually have a day when you don't follow a meal plan. So let's say Wednesday afternoon, it's freestyle. That's okay. But if you really want to stick to your food budget, learn how to reuse think staples and also learn how to use a meal plan. Mm-hmm.
And I'll conclude on my last point, which is really, it's a bit of a repetition of what you've
Mm-hmm.
said. But it's something that I had to really, I really had yeah, I didn't know what the word is. Because I used to love cooking, but then as you have a family and it grows, you find that it's quite an arduous process. What do we eat? What is that? And what sometimes happens is like in trying, even if you're a person who does like trying your recipes, you end up having a lot of different ingredients that you don't use over again. Simplify your meals is, like Andy said about having a simple baseline. I think it's really important. The simpler meals that you have, it's easy. You rotate them, you zhuzh them up, but actually having the basic core things is going to help your budget because actually you're going to buy the same things. You're going to know the quantities. You're not going to try and avoid to have, if you're a person who does like trying out recipes, also find a way of making sure that you don't do it too often because some of the recipes
Mm.
require a whole host of ingredients that you'll never use again. So, you have, mm, for argument's sake, I have like five, what is it called? Five
Five spice.
Chinese, which, listen, I've had for long, but it was for a season where I was trying this recipe. But that spice was at the back of my cupboard. It's been there for ages. And you will have all sorts of things that you'll never use again or are not your base. So try and have just the simpler it is, it's easy. It's easier for you, especially if you've got a household that's a really busy household. But also what that does, it then also goes back to the point of it stops you from buying convenience food. Because if it's quite simple, if you know you've got spaghetti bolognese, it's quick, it's simple. You're not going to go out for the convenient foods because it was quicker. This is actually, and someone was saying this, I digress a little bit, but someone was saying that do you realize that going to get a takeaway can take more time than if you boil your spaghetti, make your bolognese, that is going to actually be quicker than waiting for Deliveroo or going out and getting a takeaway and you know what's in it, it's healthier for you, and you saved a lot of money. So yeah, that's my last.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm gonna say that for my one is consider breaking up with your favorite supermarket and trying other things. So I know some people feel very loyal to one supermarket or the other, but actually try and shop around
Yeah.
for where things may be cheaper. So you might buy and consider the kind of cheaper supermarkets. So Lidl and Aldi. There are so
Yeah.
many things that I like getting from those two supermarkets. Different things in different places. Actually, there's lots of things that I like getting from all of them. But when I go out, I make sure that they're in my line. So I
Mm.
go to this first, get this here, get that there, but I'm not loyal to any one supermarket. I get different things from different places where it's fresher, where it's more affordable, and where the quality is best.
Mm.
And remember, there is a difference between being cheap and being
Yeah.
frugal. Frugality is when you get the best quality item at the cheapest price. Cheap is just getting the cheapest thing, and that
Mhm.
I don't do. And I don't encourage you to do that as well. Your body is really important, and
Mhm.
you should feed it with really good food, but you can be frugal.
Yeah.
Now, linked with frugality is also um, taking advantage of websites or places that offer too good to go kind of delivery
Brilliant.
services. There are lots of, I think there's even a place called Too Good to Go, where you can go and get just fruit, veg, meat, anything that's about, it's not expired, but just about to, for really, really cheap. Sometimes they're boxes, even in your favorite supermarkets. Like me, I know that my local Morrison's, I think it's on a Monday at 5 p.m. is when they mark down things. So if there's certain things that I want, I try and make sure that I get there between 5 and 5:30, and I know exactly where they're kept. I usually get veg and salads
Mm.
and things. I go there. I have gotten packs of salads for 13p, 10p, if I get there early. So really not being loyal to any one supermarket, because remember, these businesses,
Yeah.
business, they are in the business of making a
Make
profit.
money.
Yes. And so, unless you are some kind of partner shareholder, something like this that directly benefits you, you need to make, and this is where also having this staple list comes to play. I know someone as well, actually. I was talking to her last week, and she and her family have now found a supermarket that does an alternative but amazing um, uh, alternative to their favorite Kellogg's branded cereal. So they now get this cereal that they have as a family from somebody else in their sort of name brand, and they did a taste test as a family before they arrived at this, and it works for them. So if you have a staple, like recurring shopping list, find what supermarket works best for you. Consider the cost of travel, right? Because you don't want to be traveling really far to save 20p. Okay. So, find a supermarket that works for you. Whatever your supermarket of choice is, ask when next you go there for the day and the time that they mark down produce that's too good to go, and then go and shop from there. If you cannot find a supermarket that tells you when the too good to go markdowns are, go online. Oddbox, I think, is one of them, that does too good to go kind of boxes, or just oddly shaped fruit and veg. You can sign up or subscribe, make sure you get stuff from there.
And actually, the app Too Good to Go, if you
Yes.
sign up for the app, so we've had Caribbean, we've had quite a bit of takeaway from there. And what they'll do is that, for argument's sake, they would have rice and peas and a curry. You don't know which curry you're going to get. So obviously there are conditions to this, right? But we've gotten like, it's a lot of food, and it's like £3 where you usually pay about £8. Um, and they have every day there. So if also you still don't want to completely give away your takeaways, but you might find that some of the takeaways that you would like to have are actually on there. And yes, you have to be willing to get what, it might not be exactly what you get, but you're still getting something. So I know Pizza Express is on there. I know quite a lot, you'll find that your local kind of takeaways will be there. But for the big branded ones, definitely Pizza Express is there. Starbucks is actually on there. Greg's is on there. So they have multiple options, and you do have to get them at a specific time. There's nothing for free in this world. You have to forgo something for something, right? So
Exactly.
usually with a lot of them, depending where they are, they'll be really late in terms of
Mm,
they don't want to throw it
collection.
away before finish.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you do have to give up something sometimes, though. It depends where the shop is. I know, like the Starbucks that we used to have, because it's in a mall, it actually closes at 4. So they have their good to goes you have to pick them up by 4 o'clock. So it's not that late. But
Yeah,
Pizza Express is like at 10 p.m. So it depends if you want to wait to eat that time. But some people eat that time anyway. So
exactly.
there are apps out there actually.
And linked to that, the point I was going to say is a lot of these places actually have apps. And so you're not having to sit in front of a computer,
Mm.
trying to find them. Download the apps on your phone. You're already on your phone too long anyway, scrolling through Instagram. So just go on the app and try and save yourself some money. I think the last thing from me would be linked to meal prep services as well. I found Gusto really amazing. I tried a lot, but I settled with Gusto. The food's really good. It's truly fresh. And the meals are varied. So Gusto, for us, I used to do 4 meals. I think 3 or 4 a week. I can't remember now. Don't quote me. And it was like £50, or just over £50, and really, really good food. The other thing with them is you get precise ingredients, so you're not wasting extra whatever and all these esoteric sauces and things you're never going to use again that you buy in big jars. You only get the amount you need for the meal, and it's really good. It's really varied. I didn't used to do Gusto every week. I used to do it every other week. So at least the week after, that allowed us to just eat through the fridge or freezer or whatever else we didn't eat, and then we did it twice a month. So you can also do that, and it actually worked out really cheap compared to.
Well, I've done this, right, enough times to say it's still cheaper to buy your ingredients and make it
Mm-hmm.
yourself. Like, honestly, I tried the other one, and what it's on discount is really good, but after the period the discount leaves, the math starts not to make sense in terms of, actually I could have gotten a bag of rice and
Mm,
cooked it a few times
mm.
over. So do watch at really understand what that means for you. However, also there's some people, if you can actually afford it, listen, it comes to your door, it's done, it's prepared,
Yes.
there'll be zero waste, and actually nutritionally and health. It's healthy because it's set. What I used to complain about at the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, this food is so little. But then, as you were doing it, found that actually, I'm actually getting full on this.
Yeah.
It's so precise and so good. So it is healthier, but that's if you can afford it. You really have to do the maths. Just
Yes. Yes.
there, if
Yes.
Monzo, if you have Monzo, sometimes there's cash back on your groceries between 3 to 4%. That does really help. That's
Yes.
yeah, and
A
as
lot of the
a lot of
banks
us,
do that as well.
yeah,
So I know Halifax as well have cashback
yeah.
options that and they rotate it. So again, that's a really, really good point. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Is to check with your bank, like go on your banking app and see if there's cashback
Yeah, for
available with
groceries.
different
Yeah,
retailers. There are sometimes it's other retailers like clothing shops and things like this. Sometimes it's restaurants, sometimes it's supermarkets. So yeah, really look in your bank to see what they've got. I think for me with Gusto, what I found, and you're right, if it's a bit samey, then I think you don't really benefit. Well, you do better by buying the ingredients on your own because of the economies of scale, but the variety. So if what you
yeah,
feel is like today I want to eat this type of food, tomorrow I want to eat this type of food, I want to eat this type of, then you can just order, and pay the one price for your box, but travel different
good.
continents in your
Right.
palette,
Oh yeah,
for a week. So yeah, there's lots and lots of things that you can be doing to keep your food budget on track. We know, certainly from my experience, is the biggest variable cost on my
because
budget is food. And so, as we're saying this to you, hopefully we're taking our own advice ourselves and really making sure that we're on top of this. So you can do this. We will survive the crazy price hike and everything just going up and up and up. But yes, anything else? Any last minute tips or suggestions from you?
I think review your budget regularly. Make it realistic because also don't fool yourself. It might not be working because it's not realistic. Things have gone up. So do make
Mm,
sure that you're actually allocating it appropriately and well. Taking into account like at the moment summer holiday, for the summer months you might have to add on because you do have the kids there. So those little things are just little wins so that you don't actually beat yourself up
mm,
and stop trying to budget. Just make sure that the actual budget is worthwhile, especially with the price increases. What you could afford before, it doesn't work. So you're trying, and I know that you're trying to make it work because everything's gone up, but it's not realistic. So do review it and amend it accordingly. But yeah, there's plenty things, and I think we'll have another conversation because there's a whole host of things that we didn't really discuss and go into. Actually, I'm going to put this down and say it here so that I'm accountable. Like the psychology of supermarkets and how things are placed, all of that. So we will have another session on this.
mm-hmm.
It will help because, like Angie said, food is it's the one that will blow your budget over and over again. So
Yes.
yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. We'll see
All
you
right.
in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah. Catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.